Alabama's on the search for some new coaches, including offensive line. We're going to talk about that. How about our player spotlight? Jaylen Mbakwe out of Clay-Chalkvillen. He may be the most important player coming to Alabama this upcoming season. And guess what? 2025 college football video game back again. EA Sports. For college football fans, it's like Madden all over again. We've been without it for a while. We're going to talk about that and more. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Make sure you guys give us a high five. That means hit the thumbs up button and yell Roll Tide. Here's your invitation to the party. Everybody, welcome to the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. There he is, Big Elmo, the most famous man in the state of Alabama this week. Brett Elmore at Brett Elmore Show, WJLX Radio, Jasper, Alabama. I'm Mick Gillispie at Broadcaster Mick. Brett, you have been through a lot in the last 2 weeks, but you are back on the air again. Update us.
Yeah, we got back on the air Friday afternoon about 2 o'clock after a couple of days working with our friends at iHeartMedia. They allowed us to use one of their HD signals in Birmingham, which would allow us to turn back on at least our FM side of our operation on 101.5. But also, if you're in North Alabama, North Central Alabama, you got an HD car radio or HD radio in your home, you can find us now on 102.5-3, the sub-channel. And you can find us there all over North Central Alabama. So we appreciate them so much for helping us.
Yeah, radio people helping radio people, Brett. I mean, that doesn't happen a whole lot, but that was really cool of them. Did you find out who stole your antenna yet?
Not yet. Not yet. We're still looking for it. And hopefully we'll find out who did it soon. I've kind of put that in the back of my mind because I know that we have to rebuild, and even if we find the stuff, we're going to have to rebuild. So that's what we're focusing on right now. Is this is a temporary Band-Aid solution, and then we'll get rebuilt and get back to 100%.
No doubt about it. Well, let's talk Alabama coaches. Earlier this week, it was announced that on the offensive side of the football, Robert Gillispie was promoted. Of course, Alabama lost their offensive coordinator and their O-line coach. So they still got to go out there. Now, Sheridan's going to slide into the offensive coordinator role, and then Shepard is going to slide up as well with a promotion. But Alabama's still got to go out and find an O-line coach, a tight ends coach. And these are positions that are really important to the to the coaching staff, but really haven't heard much concrete information yet on who that would be. So what I'm guessing is that Coach DeBoer and his staff, as they interview people, are really looking for people coaches that can come in and do the coaching part of it, but also the recruiting part of it as well. And I feel like that's an area where Alabama could take advantage of this opportunity to add 2 new coaches.
Right. And of course, Freddie Roach was promoted too. And we talked about that earlier in the week, but I don't know. Earlier in the week, we said we'd probably know by the end of the week. And here we are the weekend, and we don't know anything, and we're not hearing much of anything. As someone that has followed Bama football for a long time, like you have, Mick, of course, I've been a fan for many years myself, but does it concern you a little bit? I mean, it seemed like that, I don't know, maybe I'm just anxious to see who they hire, but I thought we would have somebody by now.
I feel like this is an opportunity for these guys to get someone who is strong recruiting the South.
Yeah.
whether it be O-line coach, whether it be one of the other positions. And, you say O-line coach and tight ends, some of these guys can slide around and do different stuff, right? But at the end of the day, I think that it's just important for Alabama to get guys that can coach football, but also can recruit. You have this Alabama juggernaut that Nick Saban perfected over the years, right? And then Coach DeBoer comes in. He's got a different style. We all really like what he brings to the table. And he finished the recruiting cycle strong, getting Ryan Williams to come back. They're still working on some guys that left. They're trying to figure out what next year's recruiting class is going to look like. And they're going to be able to recruit nationally. But where Alabama has separated itself from pretty much every team in the South, except maybe Georgia now that Kirby's there, is winning the in-state guys and then winning the guys in the sub-states that, right next door, Mississippi, Georgia. They'll go into Georgia and get 4- and 5-star talent. Down in Florida, the Panhandle, Louisiana, Tennessee, Memphis, Nashville area. So I think that needs to continue, and I'm hoping that when all the dust settles, Alabama adds a coach or two who will be able to do the recruiting. And with the transfer portal, recruiting isn't as big as it used to be. But I think that for Coach DeBoer, he's probably stepping out of his comfort zone a little bit because he likes to bring in the coaches that he trusts, that he's worked with. We saw that. And he may not have that opportunity here, or it might not be the best fit. But I'm sure for him, he really wants to vet the guys that he brings in and bring in coaches that he can trust.
In my mind, it seems like how important do you think it would be? I feel like Dan Rather here. I'm asking all you all the questions, but how important do you think it would be to hire someone with SEC experience on the staff?
Well, I think that's really important. Yeah. I mean,
I do too.
And I that was the one weak area that I saw with the guys that were there. But, Ryan Grubb brought in so much experience and success as an offensive coordinator. We were all excited about Sam Huff because of the fact that the offensive line was so good, and Alabama has struggled in that area over the last few years, so that was exciting. But at the same time, I felt like there was a weakness as far as SEC coaches. I know they went on the defensive side of the football, and they got Coach Womack from South Alabama, but that's not an SEC school.
That's not SEC, no.
Right. It is a Southern school, and I'm hearing nothing but great things about him and what he brings to the table. But at the same time, I would love to see Alabama bring in, go get somebody that's going to not only help you, but it's going to hurt your competition. I always loved that when Nick Saban would go and steal a great coach from another SEC school, because not only does it make you better, but it weakens some of the competition that you have. And so I'm kind of hoping that's a strategy that DeBoer uses. Plus, I just worry that if these guys slip on the importance of in-state recruiting, that it's going to hurt this program down the line.
Oh yeah, I agree totally. I mean, he's got to recruit in the state and really hammer the South. But I figure hopefully we'll have some news on this soon, and it'll be interesting to see who he hires. But and maybe it's taken a little bit of time because he is vetting a lot of candidates. But it just seems odd to me that we're not hearing a peep out of all this. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, and surely we'll have somebody hired and on staff here soon.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to happen. We'll start getting closer and closer to building this staff for the spring practice and everything that represents. All right, let's talk college football. College football 25. There's the first promo of the game. This is the bright side of NIL, that now we can have college football again. Do you remember the original college football video game? And did you like it? Did you play it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I told my 15-year-old son, I said, finally, a reason for me to buy a video game console because I'm not big on the video games anymore. Really wasn't huge on them when I was a teenager and into my 20s. But now I'm almost tempted to buy a console where I could play college football 25. Who are they going to put on the cover of this? A lot of Bama fans are saying the GOAT needs to be recognized. He needs to be on the cover. Doubt that'll happen. But at least still we're getting a little bit of love there with Big Al in the little tease here. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I hate to say it, but Nick Saban works for ESPN now. He's not a football coach anymore, so he's not going to be on the cover. I could see maybe Milroe. He's going to be one of the top Heisman candidates going into the season. You could have Georgia's quarterback. He could be on there. It's going to be interesting to see who they put on there. But
Willie, will they put Willie on there?
Roll Tide Willie. I would love
Willie. He could be on there.
Just saw where Roll Tide Willie has a line of T-shirts now. Good for him.
Good for him. I need one of those.
I know. I love the guy. So yeah, interesting. I've got a game console. The only game that I really play on there is WWE.
Yeah, see, I would play that too, and I have with my son on his console. But this would definitely be worth it, and this may be something that we could parlay into, like maybe a little league for us here on the Bama Tailgate channel.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool.
If you had to play with a team other than Alabama, who would you play with?
Georgia.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I'd go with Georgia. Yeah.
I'd go Texas.
Texas.
I like those
uniforms. Wise choice, my friend.
Yeah, I love those uniforms.
Yeah.
Well, one of the guys, what's that?
But, I mean, it's exciting. People, seriously, the fans have been asking for this for a while, and finally they get it back, and it's an exciting time for the video game world there. College Football 25 coming out. Come on, give me a break. I'm going to buy me a new console. I need to know which one I need to buy, though. Yeah,
we've got Xbox. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Easy and what's great is that all the games you can just download.
Right, yeah. It's not like those old days. You remember the Nintendos when you had to blow the cartridge?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. GameStop.
Stick it back in there. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about our player spotlight today. My favorite player in this past recruiting class, Jaylen Mbakwe. He played quarterback at Clay-Chalkvillen because the team needed him to, but he was a great wide receiver. And then he's coming to Alabama to play defensive back. He helped recruit while Nick Saban was there and after Nick Saban left. He's been a loyal soldier for Alabama. He's got so much talent. It's when you talk about the best players in the state, they recruit each other.
Yeah.
Right? Does Nick Saban say high achievers don't get along with mediocre achievers and and whatever? I mean, these guys like, hey, Ryan Williams, you got to play with us. And those teams, Saraland and Clay-Chalkvillen, with one of the greatest championship games in Alabama State history, right? Played.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's cool that they're going to be on the same team. And I just felt like this guy here meant so much to this recruiting class. I'm so excited.
Well, they keep up with one another on Twitter and Instagram and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, that Clay-Chalkvillen Saraland game was one of the best of the Super 7 that they have in Alabama high school football there at the end of the year, the 7 different classifications. But they competed in 6A. Mbakwe was named MVP of the ball game. They beat Saraland by just a few points. I forgot what the final was, but they beat them by it was like 2 or 3 points. It was very close, but Mbakwe was the MVP. 282 yards of offense and 4 touchdowns. But the guy moved to quarterback, like you mentioned, Mick, because his team needed him there. his senior season. He carried the ball 148 times, over 1,000 yards and 23 touchdowns. He passed for over 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. What can this guy not do? He's so very athletic. I saw him as I want to say a sophomore, play against my Jasper Vikings. And you could tell this guy was going to be something special. He's 5'11", 170 pounds. Everyone says that this guy, if he stays healthy and he develops the way he should, he's going to be one of those players that you watch on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
He's just an elite player in all areas of the game, in every position. And also, he was a decorated sprinter in high school. A lot of these guys, they do the track and field program as well, or some wrestle, to really help them as well. But yeah, this guy was big in the track program, and looking forward to see what he does. I think Mick, I think he could make an immediate impact on this team.
Well, there's going to be some spots in that secondary. When you think about the mass exodus that Alabama had in the secondary when Tavarius Robinson took that job at Georgia, and those guys going, one guy went to Ole Miss and one guy went to Auburn, and and another guy went to Georgia, and one guy went to Ohio State. So they've got to replace a lot of those guys. So there's going to be opportunities in that secondary. The other thing about Mbakwe is I've heard that he's a really intelligent guy, smart guy. Not only can he play football, but he's a thinker and a leader. So it's going to be interesting to see how fast he's able to adjust to the college game. But if there was one player and you said, hey, who are you the most excited about? Yeah, everyone's going to say Ryan Williams, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
But to me, this guy right here, Jaylen Mbakwe, hey, he's number one, and Ryan Williams is a close second. This guy's going to be a lot of fun. He can do anything on the football field, and he's also a leader. He's kind of the leader of this class. So really excited to have him. All right, Brett, let me remind everybody that we're brought to you by newlifeart.com. Use the promo code Bama Tailgate. That'll get you a 15% discount off at checkout for one regularly priced item. Make sure that you type it in there, Bama Tailgate, when you're checking out. But it's a great time to pimp out your man cave. I had a bunch of guys in my man cave yesterday that are on these prints. Jake
wow.
was in here. Ryan Anderson was in here. Shank was in here. And they're all on these prints, which is pretty cool. I'm not on any of them. But you know what? I noticed that there's a guy on a print from that same season that looks a lot like you.
Yeah. That Clemson game.
Just kind of hanging out on the sideline down there, huh?
Yeah, just look for if you have that print of him diving into the end zone there against Clemson, just look for the guy with a big head. That's me.
What's it called? Do you know? The Finish, maybe?
I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, I think The Finish, yeah.
And it's Kenyon Drake diving for the pylon in that game against Clemson, the national championship. We beat them.
Yeah.
Glendale, 2016.
Great night.
Great night. All right. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Check Brett out, WJLX. Congratulations getting back on the air, Brett. We really have been all pulling for you, and we can't wait to find out when the police crack this case. It's going to be very interesting to see who in Birmingham took this.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I'm waiting.
Yeah, I think we got some ideas.
Yeah.
Maybe who it was, but we'll see. Anyway, for Brett Elmore, I'm Mick Gillispie. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. And make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and roll tide.